Most men over 50 set up for squats with perfect symmetry. Then wonder why one knee, one hip, or one side of their low back is painful and stressed. In this video, I'm going to show you the 10-second test that finds your natural squat stance so you can lift heavy without getting damaged. Later, I'll show you 3 squat mistakes that wreck men over 50 and how to fix each one. Ready? Jump. Now freeze. That's the answer. First, I'm going to show you what's really happening in your hips and feet, because if you don't understand this, you'll keep forcing symmetry under a load, and you'll blame your age for pain that's actually a setup problem. I'm Ken, 30+ years physical therapist and 15-year wrestling coach. This channel is for men over 50 who want to get strong again and build their best years ever. We play the long game here, gentlemen. Lifting now is good, but lifting 20 years from now is what keeps you dominant. Here's the information you've been missing. Your body is not symmetrical left to right. One shoulder is higher than the other. One foot and hand are bigger than the other. And your hips, knees, and feet alignment are not the same on both sides either. Now, luckily your nervous system figured this out without you knowing it and adjusted the way you move accordingly. But problems start when you force perfect symmetry that you don't have under a weighted barbell. Your body now has to improvise and changes the motion from other joints to complete the rep. That's how one side gets painful when using both sides the same way. This video solves that. It gives you a starting squat stance that matches your anatomy so your brain can fire your muscles in the way it knows how, against heavy resistance, and keeps your muscles and joints moving safely. Now, does that mean you should just accept your asymmetries and never try to fix them? No. If you have muscle length or strength imbalance, it is certainly correctable, but not while you're strength training with heavy weights. We play the long game here, gentlemen, and only asking your body to give what it has to offer is what keeps you safe, strong, and lifting for decades. As a PT, I'm always amazed how one side of the body becomes painful when doing activities that use both sides the same way, like jogging or swimming. The motion is the same on both sides, but their body isn't. So different forces and stressors go through the joints, causing injury on one side. This becomes a bigger issue when we add resistance, like in strength training. There are 2 major reasons why we're not symmetrical. The first is we're born that way. I am obsessed with analyzing how people move, especially while they walk. I can't not do it, and sometimes it drives me a little crazy. But it's common for me to notice the differences in people's knees, ankles, and even leg lengths that they're probably not even aware of because they've had it their entire lives. We're even born with one eye and one ear higher than the other. The second reason is we create that asymmetry just by being men. Hard work, heavy lifting, accidents, and repetitive actions over many decades have left us a little bent, twisted, and uneven. In life, we get the hard jobs done, and eventually, our bodies pay for it. Being born with side-to-side differences in one or all 3 of these areas is so normal, I tell my patients the only symmetrical body is the one drawn in anatomy books. And then add in how we've been beating the hell out of our bodies for decades, and there is no way both sides of our bodies are going to look or move the same. So we have to strength train accordingly. When it comes to the squat, there is a 10-second fix to find out how your body lines up with itself, and then you can use that alignment to safely move heavy weights. It's called the jump test. Now, grab a wooden dowel, 10 seconds. Do this with me right now, because if your stance is off, everything else you've been told about the squat won't work. And today we're going to talk about the jump test on how to get your squat stance perfect for your individual body. So for now, we're going to hold our dowel on the side of our body, feet wherever they are, and we're just going to squat down and do a jump and land in a half athletic stance. Now freeze, don't move it, and look down. Study where your feet are. There's an excellent chance your feet are not going to be pointed symmetrically in one angle or another. And also notice how far apart they are. My left foot is pointed out more than my right foot. So when I set up to squat or even deadlift, I make sure my left foot's pointed out a little more. If I try to get my left foot to angle the same as my right, I start to feel it in my hip and my knee. So really look down, study it. Don't judge it, and don't try and change it. But if it doesn't feel right, you can do the jump test again. Just jump up and land and look back down. After a couple times of doing this, you're gonna start to notice a pattern of how your feet land. We're gonna take the bar, and as we bring the dowel behind our back, we're going to try and roll the dowel down behind our shoulders into the low bar position, which we're going to get into in a couple of videos, by pulling our elbows back. We're gonna bring our weight back on our heels, and we're gonna sit back with our hips, proud chest, nice and straight spine. Get those thighs below parallel or at parallel if you can, and then drive the dowel back up. Don't worry about how far you go down right now. What you're looking at is making sure your knees are tracking in the direction that your toes are pointed. And key into how this feels through your hips, your knees, and your feet. All right, now if you want to crack at fixing your asymmetries, that's great. The two dowel warm-ups, your upper body dowel warm-up and your lower body dowel warm-up, you can do that every day to start to work on lengthening certain muscles that need it or strengthening other muscles that need it to create more symmetry. But don't try to do it under a weighted barbell. That's how men get injured over time. We earn our symmetry with repeated work with our dowel exercises, but we have to respect the structure our body has right now when we are barbell weight training. Let's go over the 3 common mistakes men over 50 make when strength training with the squat. Number 1, they have symmetry worship, right? They take all setup instructions literally and kind of ignore the own uniqueness of their own body. They're copying what works for the instructor, but they're not doing what works for them. And that hurts because they don't have the body of the other instructor, so that's putting different forces and stresses through their system that someone else might not experience, so they have to find it themselves. The fix is do the jump test so you can be able to figure out what your body and brain is able to give you during a squat, especially when you start adding on that heavy load. And mistake number 2 that men make, they go wider with their feet than their hip structure actually wants to. They think that they need to be way more stable under the squat, so they have this super wide stance. And as they go down, it over lengthens their groin muscles and forces their groin muscles to contract more than they should and in an over lengthened position that makes those groin muscles really vulnerable to getting stressed and overworked. And if you squat this way, I guarantee you're gonna feel your groin for days because it's gonna be so painful. So the fix is the jump test, right? We jump, and as you land, you're gonna notice your feet really aren't that far apart at all. They're more or less under your hips or your shoulders and not way out to the side. So respect the jump test and don't think you need extra stability with a wider stance. And mistake number 3, when we go down into the squat, it's really important for alignment to keep our knees pointed in the same direction our feet are pointed. But as the weight gets heavy, we tend to either collapse one knee in or the other knee in, or start doing this as we're driving back on up again. That puts a lot of dangerous stress through our knees, and that's why that hurts really bad. So to keep our knees safe while we're squatting, as we're dropping down into the hole, make sure they're pointing in the direction of the feet, and as we're ready to drive back up, actively push them out to keep them in the direction of your feet so your knees stay in good alignment and healthy and safe. Here's how you use this. Every squat day, start with the jump test. Then do a set of dowel squats to lock it in. And if one side always feels off, don't force it. Adjust that side slightly and pay attention to your personal setup. And in the second 50 strong system, it's 30 minutes, 4 days a week. Monday, squats. Tuesday, bench. Thursday, deadlift. And Friday, standing press. 2 hours total. Safe, simple, short, and smart. And smart means you're progressing without paying for it with pain. On your off days, do your upper body and lower body dowel warm-ups. They're slow, controlled, and joint friendly. That's how you clean things up without getting hurt. And if you want the full step-by-step system, grab my free strength training crash course for men over 50 at second50strong.com. No frills, no fluff, no fancy, just effective. Built for the long game. And if you want to go deep into completely dominating your second 50 years as a man, check out my book, Grow or Die. It's on Amazon, and I wrote it exactly for you. Gentlemen, this isn't just a squat tip. It's retraining your brain to lift in a way that matches your structure, so you stay strong, capable, and dangerous in your second 50 years. Stop copying someone else's stance. You don't have their body. Use the stance your body shows you. There is no neutral. You're either growing or you're slowly dying. Every minute of every day, you have to make that choice. Now, watch these videos on your screen. These are the next steps if you want to keep growing for decades. And always remember, most men fade, but you're not most men.